1,000 years ago, I fought my way out of that cave, became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
The world has changed. None of us can go back. All we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
I will be back here. I will be back here. I will be back with vengeance.
I saw all these people die.
I keep telling everybody they should move on. Some do, but not us.
Even if there's a small chance, we owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
We will. I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Doing whatever it takes. I like this one.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Niner Sickness Podcast. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Thursday night football is going on. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk 49er football. We're going to do the preview of the Miami game this Sunday, week 16. My crime partner, the better half of my show, was not able to come on today. We were planning to come on together. Unfortunately, she came up with a real bad migraine headache. So please keep Jess in your prayers for a quick recovery. But I think I can handle this alone today. We're going to have some great topics to talk about. And most importantly, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you guys in the comments about the 2024 season. We're going to talk about that right after this.
Trying to set up the screen, he's in trouble, down he goes. He's into the end zone, touchdown 49ers. He's to the 10, he's to the 5, another spectacular touchdown. He caught it, touchdown pass, Carolina. One of the greatest finishes in 49er history.
Toss to McCaffrey, and he runs out across the 30, breaks a tackle, he's gone! It is intercepted! The 49ers have the football! Touchdown!
He's into the end zone, touchdown, 49ers.
San Francisco!
Let's go 49ers Real Talk, where we keep it 100% real. Welcome once again. Welcome. Before we get started, please do me a favor and wipe your feet. Ooh, wrong one. Give me a second, guys. Please do me a favor and wipe your feet before entering by smashing that like button. I truly appreciate it. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you're watching me from YouTube, if you're watching from Instagram, Twitter, or X, if you're watching from my Facebook page or group. Let me know, and welcome. Welcome to another episode. Like I said a few minutes ago, unfortunately, my co-host is not able to join me today. She has a really bad migraine headache. For those that experience migraine headaches, they come at you out of nowhere and they're a pain in the butt. So please keep her in your prayers. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's going to be a conversation about football, Niners game against the Dolphins. We're going to elaborate a little bit in the game that we just watched against the Rams. We're going to talk about Devondre Campbell. That's kind of old news by now, but I want to get your guys' input. This is going to be the opportunity where you, the viewers, get the opportunity to speak to me through the comments. I'm going to pay close attention to your comments. So if you have a question for me throughout the show, make sure to put a Q before your question so that I can acknowledge it as a question and I can respond to it much faster. Again, if you're going to ask me a question, put a Q, the letter Q in front of your comment so that I know it is not just a comment, but a question addressed to me. So how's everybody doing? Let me go ahead and welcome everyone real quick. 2024, ladies and gentlemen, has not been the season that we all anticipated or were looking forward to. Having the roster that we have, the loaded roster, the George Kittle, Trent Williams, the Christian McCaffreys, the Debos, the Ayuks, Bosa, Fred Warner, Hufanga, adding some key opponents in the offseason, like Leonard Floyd, Matos, making a change at the defense coordinator spot. We fired our last coordinator, Steve Wilkes, and then we added a new coordinator. He's been learning throughout the season. He's been making his adjustments. But overall, injuries, and again, I understand injuries are not an excuse. They're not an excuse, but it is reality. Injuries hit us hard in 2024. We were picked by Vegas to go to the Super Bowl and win it this year. We're on the verge of not even making the playoffs. What went wrong? What went wrong? And I want to discuss this with you, the viewers. This is not going to be a show where I just talk throughout the whole episode. I want to be able to communicate with you guys. I want to know what your guys' thoughts. Who do you blame? Who you don't blame? Is it just the injuries is why we are where we're at record-wise? Or could it be that there was a lot of things done wrong by the front office, in your opinion? Is there a possibility that other things other than injuries could be a reason why we are at where we're at right now? We're going to talk about that. But first, let me go ahead and say hello to Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy? How you doing, sir? We got 49ers Throwback in the house. How you doing, 49ers Throwback? Always appreciate you, buddy. Says thank you for tuning in, faithful. Make sure you all smash that like button and subscribe. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. We got 49er Eddie in the house. Hey, Beto, glad to see you and Merry Christmas. Likewise, Merry Christmas to you and everyone in your family. May you have the most blessed Christmas this year, sir. Bebop Jones is in the house. He says, Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, Bebop. We got Terradome in the house. What's up, Terradome? Good to see you, my friend. He says, go Niners. We got my little sister. My little sister who I admire. Now, we are not related, but I call her my little sister. We adopted that here on social media. She's been following my channel for a very long time. She's a very great individual. She's a loving mother, an amazing mother to Ariel and Jayla. And I am so proud to be able to call her my little sister. Welcome, Dawn Dodson. Appreciate you. Look who it is. Another great friend, Leslie. How you doing, Leslie? Welcome. Says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Hey, we are okay. We are faithful. And we are okay. We will be okay. It doesn't take away, though, the sting of being where we're at, though. I hear what you're saying. We will be okay. We are the 49ers. But it doesn't take away the sting. That the fact is, we may not see our team in the playoffs in 2024. It's not going to be the same. I am so accustomed of watching and preparing for our team to go into the playoffs with the goal of going to the Super Bowl and winning it all. We came close last year. We had injuries. We failed to get the ring. And this year, everything broke loose. This is why it's so important to take advantage of your opportunity when you're able to. This is why the Niners should have beaten the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Because there is no guarantees. I don't care what Vegas says. I don't care what the so-called experts say. There is no guarantee that your team will go back the following year. That is the case for us this year. It sucks, but it's reality. John Bridge is in the house. How you doing? Breaks. Not Bridge, Breaks. My apologies for that mispronunciation. How you doing, sir? Welcome. I know that you guys are writing comments, but I'm trying to just bring up the people for the first time that so that I can welcome them in. Captain. Every time I see Captain, I want to see Captain Lou Albino. Many of you guys probably don't know who he is. That just shows my age. But how you doing, Jason? Get to see you. My uso, my brother, mi hermano, Val Ramos. What's up, brother? God bless you, bro. How you doing? God bless everyone. David McNiner. I hope you just didn't say hi and left. I hope you're still here. Let me know if you're still here. I've been thinking about you a lot lately. You've been on my mind. And I've been reflecting this past year and the people that I have met. I've been reflecting on the people that I've met, the people that I call friends, and I got the opportunity to meet you in person. I got the opportunity to meet Corey Davis. God rest in peace. Beautiful man, will always be a beautiful, gentle man. And I've been reflecting on the blessings of 2023. And I got the chance to meet, is it 23? Did we meet late last year or early this year? I don't remember, but I apologize for that. But nevertheless, I got to meet you in person. I consider you a dear friend. I know I haven't been visiting your Wednesday channel to say hello. I know I haven't been around, but brother, I love you and have much respect for you. And I am blessed to call you friend. Dina Harvey, how you doing, Dina? Good to see you, my friend. Always an honor and pleasure to see you in the house. I'm going to read your guys' comments, but I'm just going through the people that I haven't brought up to acknowledge them in the comments. Tommy Huxley is in the house. Bang, bang, Kamala gang. You got to give it to Tommy, man. I'm telling you, Tommy's the best. Daniel Burry Sports Highlights is in the house. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the channel. Briscoe is in the house. What's up, brother? Welcome. Good to see you. My brother from another mother, Jess. How you doing, Jesse? From Last Second Sports. This man, I just want to say this guy, a lot of people don't agree with his takes. Some people love him, some people don't. But I have the most respect for this man for putting in the work that he puts in. Sometimes you have to be controversial, but he speaks from the heart. He speaks how he feels about the quarterback situation. He speaks about how he feels about the team. And this is the beautiful thing about being a content creator, that we get the opportunity to express how we feel. And I will always encourage everyone, if you are someone that loves to disagree with someone, the best thing to do, instead of, and I'm not saying nobody does it here, but instead of kind of disrespecting the person you don't agree with, I always encourage people to start their own channel. Start your own channel, put in the work, talk your shit, and people that respect you will follow you and do your thing. It is too easy to talk bad about other people just because we don't agree with their takes. We are all doing what we love to do. So, Jess, I commend you for stopping by, brother. Thank you for honoring my show by stopping by. All right, so if you have questions for me, make sure to add the Q sign. Okay? Make sure you add the Q. Not the @ sign, but the Q. So that I know you have a question in particularly for me. All right, guys. So here we are, 2024. We are in the verge of missing the playoffs. What in the heck went wrong? What went wrong this year? Now, I spoke earlier about injuries. And that was a major reason why we have played the way we played. But it has not been the only reason. And I want to know from your perspective, your thoughts on why we are where we're at today. Taking the injury part out of it for a minute. Is it coaching? Is it the front office? Is it not drafting well? Or is it not developing well? This team has always had the type of culture that we are in unity. Anything that takes place within the locker room stays in the locker room. These guys have each other's backs through the good and through the bad. Unfortunately, against the Rams on Thursday on national TV, it was a game that the Niners needed to win. It was a game that the Niners had to win. Now, Greenlaw, who has been injured for most of the year, has been working to get back to the field. He's been rehabbing. he's been doing whatever he had to do to come back on the field. The Niners needed to bring in a linebacker to replace Greenlaw temporarily until Greenlaw would be able to return. When you got signed, Devondre Campbell, you knew where you stood. You knew where you stood. You came in to a team to help out. The Niners gave you an opportunity to bring you in. They gave you a second chance, if you will. After Green Bay let you go, they brought you in to help out this defense in the absence of Greenlaw. Nobody was under the understanding that Greenlaw was not going to play this year. Everybody knew, and their mamas, that as soon as Greenlaw is given the green light, as soon as he's able to play, that position was his. He is a motivator. He is a Pro Bowler. He is the heart of this defense. What he provides is unreplaceable. Now, I understand Campbell came in. He played for most of the year. He put in his sweat. He practices every time. He showed up for every game. He wasn't really good when he first came on, but he gradually started to become better. And somewhere down the line, he lost the concept that I am just holding this position temporarily. It doesn't matter how good I am. I am replacing temporarily a legend here in San Francisco. Life isn't fair, right, guys? Give me a break. Life isn't fair. Yes, Campbell, you put in your time, you put in the work, but when you signed, you knew that you're going to be here temporarily. So the fact that he quit on his team because of his personal feelings, the fact that he quit on his team because his pride got hurt, you got Charvarius Ward dealing with the loss of a child. Unimaginable. You lose your child and he's playing. You got McCaffrey that has been injured. He has been working hard to get back on the field. You got Greenlaw, who has been working hard to get back on the field, to get into the battlefield with his guys. You got players playing hurt like Fred Warner, Bosa, but they do what they got to do. They sacrifice because they want to be in battle with their guys. And here comes Campbell that was demoted to a backup to the rightful owner of that spot. And you saw the difference on that defense in the first quarter when Greenlaw was everywhere. You do not get that type of spark. And this is no disrespect to Campbell, but I did not see that same intensity, that same energy coming from Campbell that I saw from Greenlaw for that first quarter and a half against the Rams. So they sit you behind on the bench. And when they needed you, because Greenlaw was coming back, he had to get out of the game. Then we lost. I forgot who else we lost. And it was down to Campbell. And he said, no, thank you. He had no regard for his teammates. He had no regard for his teammates. He cared about himself more than he cared about his team. He made the most selfish decision that is going to haunt him for the rest of his life. He was not a bad player. He has been a Pro Bowler. And this is what people are going to remind themselves of you when your name comes up, that you are one that turned your back among your teammates because of your feelings. Everybody gets emotional. Everybody has feelings. And I understand that mental illness is a real thing. It is. I have the most respect for everyone that is dealing with mental illness. But do not use it as an excuse. If he knew he was not feeling great about being demoted, if he felt that he did not like stepping down, he should have told Shanahan, I don't like what you did. I don't like that you stepped me down. Therefore, I am not going to suit up. I am not going to suit up, put someone else, sign somebody from the practice squad. But no. He pre-made it and suited up knowing that he was not going to play. He took a roster spot, ladies and gentlemen. He took a roster spot. And when his name was a call upon on a game that the Niners had to win, he bailed on his teammates. If that is not a coward move, I don't know. I see your question, Don. I see your question, John. I will get to it in a second. If you have questions, put the Q in front, and I will be happy to answer your questions to the best of my ability. This was an opportunity for Campbell to show other teams that he is a team player. This was his opportunity to show the rest of the 31 teams out there that may need a linebacker. This guy is a team player. He was demoted, but when they needed him, he came in and did his job. But no, he decided to let his pride and his ego take place. I don't care what excuse he had. I don't care what he's going through. If you're going through something, you tell your coach you cannot play. You don't suit up. You give that spot to someone else. Even if he didn't suit up, even if he didn't play in that game, I will still give him credit because at least he was man enough to step aside and let the Niners bring someone from the practice squad. But he intentionally sabotaged the Niners. In other words, he wanted to stick it back to the Niners because what the Niners did to him. Oh, you did this on me? Watch, I'm going to get you back. What professional thinks like that? You are a professional that has kids looking up to you. And you allowed your pride and your ego to step in. All right, so we have our first question. Make sure I didn't miss any other questions. What do you think coming from Don Dotson. What do you think about Kittle? Knowing about Campbell being upset. He didn't say anything. Kittle said a lot. Kittle said a lot. Now, you're right. He didn't say much verbally, but if you read his body language, he was speaking volumes on how he felt about this situation. Unfortunately, he could not express how he really felt to the media because he can get misquoted. So he had to hold his tongue. But if you looked at his body language, not so much what he said, and he said enough, you can hear and see his frustration. He was disgusted. He was in disbelief that a teammate would put his pride before the team. I guarantee you, if the social media reporters was uncensored, F-bombs would have been flying across the board. He would have really spoken how he felt. What he said to the media is not what he said to his coworkers or his teammates. Guarantee you. Great question. Keep bringing your questions. John says, what has to happen for the Niners to make the playoffs? I know it's a very slim chance. It is about 1%. The Niners are not making the playoffs. I am not being negative. I am not being someone that doesn't believe. But, John, it is hard at this point. Because even if they went out, they lost already twice to the Rams. They lost once to Seattle and once to the Cardinals. You got teams, and I gotta look at the bracket. Okay, so you look at all the division winners, right? So they take their spot. Then you gotta look at those behind. You got Green Bay behind. You got Green Bay behind Detroit, and you got Minnesota behind Detroit. So out of the NFC North, you're going to get 3 teams coming out of that. 3 teams. Obviously, the division winner, and then 2 spots, which is the 6th and the 7th. It is hard for the Niners at this point, John, to win or to put themselves in a position to make the playoffs. You want to win games because you want to finish the season on a winning note. Now, I know a lot of people would rather the Niners lose so that the position in the draft will be better. And although, as a fan, that's not a bad idea, but players don't think like that. Coaches don't think like that. Even owners. Now, owners may think it, but they're not going to say it. But coaches, GMs, and players do not think about the draft. They're thinking about finishing the season strong so they can build on that momentum coming into 2025. Will the Niners beat Miami? It's not going to be easy, but it is possible. It is possible for sure. Bosa was a captain and should have done something. The problem is, did he know? One of the rebuttals of Kittle said, he wished he would have found out when it actually happened. He wished he would have known when it happened. But he didn't find out until after the game. When you're in the game and your mind is focusing on your responsibility as a player, you don't have time, honestly, to be wondering what's going on the sidelines. If you are, that's a problem. If Kittle knew, because he's too busy being a comadre, as we say in Spanish, you know, the people that are nosy, then that means they're not concentrating on what they're supposed to do. The fact that he didn't know means George Kittle was so concentrating on what he had to do at the moment that everything else was blurred, out of focus. And I believe Bosa was in the same situation. Now, I'm not 100% sure. If he interviewed and he said that he knew, then I stand corrected, but I didn't watch his interview. But I'm assuming that if he knew, he would have said something. Even with that little funny voice of his, he would have said something to Campbell. I feel you on that, Tommy. Captain, gotta keep everything. Again, if he knew, yes. But when you're in the trenches, when you're in the battle zone, imagine, okay, I know football is nothing like an actual war. I understand that. But we've seen a lot of war movies where they're in and guns are flying, bullets are flying, and it's a total chaos. People are getting blown up. Hand grenades are being blown up. Do you think if you were in a war against any country and you were getting shot at, would you be really paying attention to what your partner over here is doing? Oh, I wonder what's happening over here. There's a bunch of bombs and landmines and people are shooting me over here. But, well, I wonder what Joe is doing. I wonder what Tom is doing. They're not worried about Tom and Joe unless they're focusing on having their back. Bosa might be a captain, but he's not focusing on the little tantrum the little Mr. Campbell is having on the sideline. Now, if anyone stood up and spoke to him, was John Lynch. And kudos to John Lynch for stepping up, walking to that man, and telling his ass to go to the locker room. If you don't want to play, you don't belong on the field. Get your ass to the locker room. I see the donation. Tommy, I will bring you up in a minute. I checked already. It's over. Rams, Arizona, Sea Chickens lose every game. Basically, and the Niners win out. Rams and Seahawks tie only. Yes. Yeah, you're right. This is why opportunity of winning is impossible. I got to get my thing fixed up again. I changed computers. I've been lazy. Did I say that? Yeah, my wife will agree with me. Yeah, he's lazy. And I haven't built a proper channel for my super chats. I love to acknowledge those that help out the channel by making your announcement or your comment or your question stand out from everybody else. And I'm going to get back to that. Matter of fact, the next time I do a show, it will be taken care of. That is a promise. Now I got to do it because if I don't, then I am not a man of my word. Tommy says, super chat for $2. Thank you, Tommy, first and foremost. Sorensen is absolute dog meat. Fire this clown. He has definitely had his ups and downs, but he doesn't give me that feeling that once he gets it all in, once he figures everything he needs to figure out, we're going to be okay. I don't get that vibe from him. When Robert Saleh left to become the head coach of the Jets and DeMeco Ryans took over, a first-time defensive coordinator, he struggled. He struggled in the beginning, but you had that sense like yeah, he's struggling, but I like his charisma. I like his attitude. I like the way he commands the defense, how players want to play for him. He showed potential, in my opinion. I don't get that from Sorensen. No disrespect to him. He's probably the greatest guy. People love him. But I just don't see that same demand, that essence that D'Amico brought. I saw that more from D'Amico than I even seen it from Robert Saleh. So to Tommy's point, even if Sorensen wasn't that bad, we need someone better. We need a type of defensive coach like D'Amico was, like Flores with Minnesota. We need someone that lives and breathes defense. And Bradley is not the choice either. The Niners need to go out and get and bring in a top dog as a defensive coordinator, even if they have to pay him more than they're comfortable with doing. They need to bring someone that is not only going to make our defense better, but brings a presence to this defense, brings a what's the word I'm looking for? Identity. An identity to this defense. I don't see that at all coming from Sorensen. Once again, thank you for the $2 donation, my friend. Much appreciated. Brick says, people vent about their jobs all the time. They say things like they should quit, but they don't. He did it with 1 million of people watching. Yeah. That's exactly what Campbell did. Sorensen walks down the street with his bag on a stick. Over his shoulder. Ándale. I don't think he's that bad. I really don't. I think he's a good enough coach. But I don't need just a good enough coach. I need a ass-kicking type of defensive coordinator. I need a defensive coordinator that brings an atmosphere that changes the atmosphere of the defense, not just adapts to what's there. In my opinion. Nick the Hobo Sorensen, andale. See, I don't really, everybody's entitled to their views and thoughts. I don't think he's bad enough to be insulted. That's me. But he's not good enough to be kept either. We need a change. And it's not going to be, let's be honest, we need a change and it's not going to be Shanahan. Nor do I want it to be. So there has to be a big change. Now, another person that I want to be fired the minute the season is over is, I'm not even going to mention his name, but special teams coordinator has to go. He has to go. It will drive me nuts if Kyle retains him for 2025. He needs to go. I can accept, I'm not going to like it, but I can accept that Kyle keeps Nick Sorensen and brings him back. I don't want that to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm willing to accept that. Then hearing that he kept that special teams coordinator. He got to go. Our defense has been up and down, up and down. A lot of it had to do with injuries. A lot of it had to do with the coordinator. But special teams has been trash from week 1 to week 15. And it's going to be trash on Sunday. That needs to be resolved, in my humble opinion, more than Nick. And I think the Niners are smart enough to let go of Sorensen and I forgot his name, but I don't want to mention his name anyway. The defensive coordinator. Yep, absolutely correct, Dina. So here we are, 2024, week 16. Going into week 16 this Sunday. We are headed, matter of fact, the Niners tomorrow evening board the plane towards Miami to face the Miami Dolphins, to face their head coach was on the Niners. We're playing against a Miami team that is not that good. It isn't that good. But we are playing in Miami. I don't think neither team is playing for anything at this point. And as much as the 49ers want to win, as much as the Dolphins want to win, they're not going to put their players in situations that they can get hurt. They're not going to admit it, but the Niners and the coaching staff of the Dolphins will not put their players or take risk because there's really nothing to gain from winning. And they want to win, they're going to strive to win, but they're not going to push the envelope as if though this game matter. If this game matter where we win on Sunday, we're in the playoffs, so be it. Then I can see the Niners keeping Brock and doing stunts with Brock and having to, run with the ball, put him in harm's way more than usual because we got to win. I don't see that same thing going on this Sunday. They're going to play to the best of their ability, but are they going to go beyond what they normally would if this game was meaningful? Absolutely not. So this game is going to be an ugly game. And the team, in my opinion, who makes the least mistakes, who turns over the ball the least amount of times, the team that is more disciplined and does not hurt their own team with stupid penalties will be the victor of this game. But do I see strategy? Do I see like a true game plan? Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it. Somebody popped in here. There he is. What's up? Jose Avila is in the house. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Always nice to see you, my friend. Welcome to the show. You're late. No, just kidding. No, you're not late, bro. You're on time. So, we're facing the Miami Dolphins. I think the Niners are going to go in there, trying to be smart with their players. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Bosa doesn't go. I wouldn't be surprised if if a player could go but doesn't go, I wouldn't read too much about, oh my God, Bosa's not playing? His injury must be worse than what we really think. No. If he doesn't go in, it's because the Niners are just saying, hey, we're going to shut it down. Not completely, but we're going to be precautious, and we want to make sure we don't lose him. And it kind of pours into next season, kind of like the way we lost Greenlaw, and it affected us this year. They don't want to see that with Bosa. They don't want to see that with Debo. They don't want to see that. As it is, we're down to our, fifth running back? Ay, Dios mío. ¿Qué está pasando con los running backs? My goodness. McCaffrey, gone. Elijah, gone. Mason, gone. Now Garindo, gone. My Lord. Running backs are dropping like flies. Now we're going to see the so-called any running back can run in Kyle's system. Oh, no worry. No worry. Anybody can run in that system. We shall see. I think that Kyle game plans and it benefits the running back, but I still think that talent is a major factor how you can exploit that game plan. We'll see. As I start to wind down, let's talk about Debo for a second. The reality, guys, and I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. The reality is this. We're going to lose a lot of players this offseason. Not necessarily because we have to. A lot of us don't really understand how the salary cap gets manipulated, how they work the salary cap. Teams know how to work around the salary cap if they want to keep players on the roster. Now, sometimes it is just too hard, or if they're free agents and another team just happens to give them the bag, which the Niners may say, well, we love this player, we want him back, but we don't love him this much. And they let him go. Those are possibilities. Now, a lot of people I've been hearing on X that Debo should get cut or should get traded. Debo is not quite the young man he was when he first came to the Niners. He has slowed down. But if you look at the film, the all 22, and you break down the film, you can see what is missed so easily during a regular game and how effective Debo is. Just having him out there, what Kyle is able to call, how he's able to game plan just because of the presence of Debo. Now, is he jumping off the wall with all these touchdowns and running to the house? The Debo that we knew, you put the ball on his hand, he's gone. Debo took pride in never allowing the first defender to take him down. It would have to be the second and third defender to finally bring him down. This year, the first defender that hits him brings him down. That's a shame. But how he blocks, how his presence is utilized to game plan for other players is very important. Debo is important to this offense. It may not be the way we would want him to be important. The way we want is, 20 touchdowns or, so many thousand of yards, receiving. And we want all these fantasy football stats. That's what we want. We want fantasy football stats. We want the Nuka Napua type of receivers. We want the Chase, trying to think of his last name over there in Cincinnati. Has Debo lost a step? 100%. Is he the same player that he was when he came in 2019? No. But is he still valuable to this offense? Absolutely yes. Even more so when Brandon Ayuk comes back healthy. You're going to have Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and now you're going to have Juwan Jennings and a more experience. What's the young man's name? Slipping my mind. Our first pick this year, the man that got shot. If you guys can put it in the comments, I would appreciate it. I kind of slipped his mind. But he should come back more experience in the fold. Cowing, the 4th round receiver, Jacob Cowing. I think Jacob Cowing is going to have a great 2025 season with us. I expect him to really, really make a huge leap in 2025. Ricky Parcell, thank you, Bebop Jones. Much appreciated. Thank you, Eddie. Ricky Parcell, I think Ricky Parcell is going to come more mature, more developed, and ready to go in 2025. He's going to have a complete offseason. But I think Debo is very, very important to this offense. Do I want him gone? No. Do I want him traded? No. Now, that's just me. In my opinion, people can, have their own. But don't let emotion be a factor of why you want to get rid of someone. Don't let your emotions be a factor of why, because he's not having the type of year that you expected him to have in the scoring department, in the yards department. Look at the tape. The tape never lies. Look at every play he takes from the first snap to the last. And Debo is doing a lot. Now, did he drop the ball? Yes. Has he been more careless? Yes. That is psychological. He needs to figure that shit out and figure it out quick. That's something that Debo will do, though. He will do. I don't expect Debo to be the one that drops the ball every single time. He's had a bad year. He's going through a slump. I do not expect Debo to be playing next year the way he played this year. Now, if they do trade him, am I going to be upset? No. I think the number one receiver is Brandon Ayuk. He's a complete receiver, but I do not think that Debo's a bad receiver. I just don't. Jose says, I really hate to see Debo go, but the writing's on the wall. We're going to trade him to get whatever we can. Now, keep in mind, you got to look at the whole picture when it comes about trading and cutting and so forth, okay? We got to look at the contract. They extended him. Now, I believe the contract is not that bad as it really looks. I think they do have a way out. One thing I love about the Niners, and wow, today's is not the day again for remembering names. Our finance guru, what's his name? The one that negotiates all the contracts. He's a very, very smart man. And I know a lot of fans, they get mad at him. He's not fair for the players. Players need to get paid. And yes, I am for the Niners paying their players. I am for each and every player to get their bag. But Murad Parag, his job, his numero uno responsibility is for the San Francisco 49ers. It is for the 49ers. He's going to do what benefits the team, not the individual. Now, he's going to try to make it work with both parties get what they want. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Perfect example. In the situation with Bosa, Bosa won that negotiation. I guarantee it. Bosa won. Now, did Bosa have to compromise a little bit? Yes. But did Bosa have leverage more than Debo or Ayuk did? Yes. Absolutely. And for those that don't think that Brock Purdy is going to get paid the fair market value, is crazy. What's up, Leon? How you doing, sir? I got my birds right behind my green screen, so if they start chirping, I apologize. They've been pretty good so far, but sometimes they get bored and they start chirping away. Debo got locked down by Spoon. His job is receiver. Ronnie Bell has better hands. He might have better hands, brother, but he couldn't catch the flu. He's just not dynamic anymore in my... Oh, you're talking about Debo having better hands. Got you. I just think Debo had a bad year, honestly. I think Debo just had a bad year. Now, again, if Debo gets traded, am I going to lose sleep over it? No. The only way Debo is going somewhere is if they totally have complete confidence that Ricky Parcell can step up and take his spot. Teams only have tolerance for players based on who's behind them. Teams only have the tolerance for players based on who's behind them. If they have a young man in the wings, if they have a young man waiting in the wings to take Debo's spot, the tolerance of dealing with Debo is not going to be that high. All right, you know what? We have Ricky Parcell. We think Ricky Parcell can, he might not be Debo, but I think he can do good enough to replace Debo. So if they offer us a trade for Debo and they give us a great package, we will take it because we know that even though he's not Debo, Ricky's good enough to do what we need him to do. And they can make that decision simpler. But if they don't have confidence, anybody behind Debo, that's when they sit there and go, I like this trade offer. But if we let Debo go, what happens to our team? And those are decisions that are made in the front office based on who is in the wings ready to go. I'm going to use this as a prime example. Greenlaw is a free agent. Greenlaw is going to have to be re-signed if he stays here. Is another team going to make, if I can reference The Godfather, for those that don't know what The Godfather is, you guys are too young. If a team makes an offer that he cannot refuse, it's going to be hard for the Niners to bring him back. But they will put emphasis on trying to bring him back. Why? Because who do they really have behind him? Who do they really have behind him? And that puts pressure on the 49ers to try to keep him within this roster. But I bet you if I'm trying to think of the young man. Again, today's not a day for me with names today. Number 53, and then the guy he's the one that's going to replace Greenlaw. The other, Jalen, I believe is his name, the one that we cut and then we brought back, or we took him off a waiver wire, or however it was. I think he's more suited to supposedly replace Fred Warner at his position. D. Winters that's the name. I don't think they are not that I'm not saying happy, but they're not totally convinced that D. Winters is the guy. They're not. They're not convinced 100% that if we let Greenlaw walk in free agency, we're not going to miss a step with T. Winters. That's not the reality of what's happening. There's a huge gap between Greenlaw and Winters. And because that gap is there, maybe Buffoon or, oh my God, if I messed up his last name, it was not intentional. Maybe he's been showing something that we, as fans, haven't been seeing in practice, that they may feel comfortable. You know what? This kid right here, we have something in him. So our job is to want to bring Greenlaw back. Our job is to try to get him signed. But if another team pays him way too much money, we're comfortable of falling back on this kid. I don't know where the Niners are at there. And those are the driving decisions, in my opinion, is whether they go after a player or they let him walk. And a lot of times we question John Lynch, we question Kyle Shanahan because we allow our feelings to take place. And what was John Lynch thinking? What was the Niners thinking? Blah, blah, blah. We got to look at the whole picture. Now, I'm going to finish on this note. Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy in the same level? And I hate comparisons, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to say this. Is he Josh Allen? No. Is he Patrick Mahomes? No. Is he Joe Burrow? No. Is he Justin Herbert? I think he's better than Justin Herbert, but that's me. I digress. He may not be better than the guys that I mentioned, but he's good enough for this offense. He's good enough to play under Kyle. Does he have the strongest arm? No. Is he, quote unquote, the elite quarterback? I don't know. Can he put the team on his back and win like Joe Montana did so many times, or Steve Young, or Josh Allen has done, or Patrick Mahomes has done? All I know is whether people want to call Brock a system quarterback or not, under the system that he's in, being coached by Kyle, it works. It works. He is able to take command of the offense. He is able to execute what Kyle wants him to execute. He's able to improvise. He's able to escape with his legs and keep and push the play for another down. Let's stop, in my opinion, comparing him to other quarterbacks. Why? Why try to compare him to Josh Allen? Why try to compare him to the field of Patrick Mahomes? He's not in their level, but he's a hell of a quarterback under center for the San Francisco 49ers. When was the last time we had a quarterback as good as Brock Purdy? Since Steve Young, Jeff Garcia, and Joe Montana. Because I didn't mention Alex Smith because to me, Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Alex Smith ever was. He's better than Kaepernick. Now, Kaepernick can run the ball like a bull. But Brock is better. So Brock isn't Josh Allen, guys. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Joe Burrow. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be them. He is Brock Purdy, a quarterback that is able to win and has won games. He's taken us to a championship, and it's shown when he doesn't play in the championship, we lose. When he plays in the championship, we win. Now, his only fault is playing Patrick Mahomes twice. Well, he didn't play him the first time, but playing just Patrick Mahomes. The curse of the Niners is playing the Kansas City Chiefs twice. Because I guarantee, not that we can't beat the Chiefs. I'm not saying that. But I think we would have had an easier path playing the Ravens. Even though the Ravens kicked our ass in the regular season, I would have loved to play the Ravens in the Super Bowl much more than playing the Chiefs. And if it's going to be pride, you know what pride says as fans? Well, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'd rather play Mahomes and the Chiefs and prove the world that we're better. Okay. If it works out that way, 2 thumbs up. Your point is valid. But if you keep getting your ass kicked by the same team, shouldn't we want to take a risk with a different team? I'm just saying, right? I'll take my chances with the Ravens. Brock Purdy, he's going to demand the market value, whether we agree or not. I've been hearing Niner fans say, well, Brock Purdy, he knows he's not that good. He knows he's not at the level of this player, so he should take a 49er discount. Are you freaking kidding me? Will you take a discount at your job? Now, if pride kicks in, yes, I will. But if it really happened, heck no, you won't. Come on. The reality is this. Brock Purdy is good enough. He is a top 10 at the very least, and we can argue that he can be in the top 5. He gets the job done. He's going to get paid what the market value is. Whether we think he deserves it or not, it's not a matter of what he deserves. It's a matter of being at that position. If there's any position that takes control when it comes to negotiation, is the quarterback, and particularly if you're good enough. Brock is just good enough where the Niners are like, shit, he's not Josh Allen, he's not Patrick Mahomes, he's not Joe Burrow, but he's not trash either. What do the Niners do? What do you expect the Niners do? You think they're going to risk in losing him? I even heard people say, let him play out on his last year or this year. He's not a first place draft pick. And then you can what's the word? Come on, Albert. What's the word? French tag him. You can tag him. And then the following year, you can tag him again. Kind of like the whole, and for people that don't want, and neither do I, who do not want Kirk Cousins to come to the Niners, let's kind of stay away from that same thing with Kirk. Kirk Cousins was never great, but he was good enough to get tagged, and he made his money. The Niners are going to do whatever they can to sign Brock Purdy as quickly as possible. And Brock Purdy, I don't know him as a person. I don't know him individually. I don't claim to know him. He may want to give the Niners a discount, but he's thinking about his family. Opportunities like this, guys, doesn't come around a lot. It doesn't. And when you got the opportunity to make $60 million per year and you have the leverage, why wouldn't you not take that? Well, he needs to be fair. He needs to be a team player. He needs to understand that if he gets all that money, then we're not going to be able to pay this player and that. Do you think he really, I'm not saying he doesn't care about that, but do you think that's going to be a reason why he's like, my first opportunity ever to make 60, but I'm going to take 45 because you know what? I'm a team player. He's not. We got a question real quick by Briggs. How you doing, sir? It says, if the Vikings win the Super Bowl this year, I bet us does that means we should keep Sam Darnold is having a great year. I give him that. Sam Darnold is having a great year. But it's 1 year. Every other year has been for shit. It is 1 year of good year. I need to see more of it. I've seen Brock Purdy go through adversity, go through the ups and downs, and be consistent. All we're getting is 1 year of Sam Darnold. If I'm going to make an investment, I'm not going to do it on Sam Darnold. And you might say, well, it's not that Sam Darnold's going to get paid a lot of money, but we can get him on the cheap. We don't have to pay Brock, and we can get the same type of service. What happens if Sam Darnold goes back and turns into a frog and plays like shit again in 2025? And Brock Purdy's gone. Oops. It's hard. When you have a quarterback that is just good enough, the team is tight. The team has their hands tied behind them. Now, I think that Brock, John Lynch, and Kyle have a wonderful relationship. I think they'll work something out. But if you think that Brock Purdy is going to take a humongous discount, you're mistaken. And if you're right, and I'm wrong, then heck. And we save money, I'll take it. What's up, Mr. Institution? How you doing, sir? They said Manning through charity before he became a star. Now, Peyton Manning was a completely different beast, though. You saw that greatness. I love Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's going to be a heck of a quarterback. But is he ever going to be that Joe Montana-ish, that Steve Young-ish, the Dan Marino-ish? I don't know. I don't know if he'll fall under that category of the Josh Allen-ish type of plays. Josh Allen plays without effort. I mean, that guy, credit that he's been gifted, but that guy is just like, boop, and the ball goes about 100 miles down the field. 100 yards, excuse me. I'm exaggerating, but you know my point. He can just flicker that ball, and that ball will shoom. Brock Purdy has to put more emphasis into it. He can't just boop and let it go. But he does enough to win games. He does enough. He takes chances. He's accurate. He anticipates. This year has not been his best year, but it hasn't been his worst year either. Or not, let me rephrase that. Hasn't been his best year, but it hasn't been that bad either. I expect Brock Purdy to get paid. I expect the Niners to still bring in players they need. And some people say it's time to retool. It's hard to take, you can always let go of a top receiver and pick another one up. You can always let go of a top running back and take your chances of bringing another one in. But Two positions are hard, are really hard. Defensive end and quarterback, in my opinion. Those two positions are hard to replace when you have good ones. Bosa will be hard to replace if we ever had to, and Brock is going to be hard. Does it mean you can't? Does it mean you can't replace them? No. What happens if you draft somebody, since we're going to be up there in the highs, and we draft somebody and that quarterback happens to be way better than Brock? Listen, when we drafted Brock, we didn't know what we were getting in Brock. Anybody, come on, guys. Anybody that says, I knew what the Niners were getting in Brock Purdy when we drafted him. Liar. Brock Purdy took the whole NFL by surprise. And you're like, well, he didn't surprise the Niners. We drafted him in the 7th round. You know what that means? We passed him up 6 times, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the Niners really knew what they had in Brock. They passed him up 6 times before they took him. Niners didn't know nothing. They had a feeling. They had a 7th round. They took a flyer on him. They took a chance on him. It's a 7th round. Even though right now he's playing like a 3rd or 2nd round, or even sometimes a 1st round quarterback, without seeing what we've seen from Brock, ain't nobody giving a 3rd round for him in last year's draft or 2 years ago. There's a reason why he went in the 7th. Now, a lot of people say, well, the scouting missed out on him. Did they really, though? Some players just play better in the pros than they do in college. Or something snaps and they just do better. Now, one thing we can give Brock Purdy credit, he had a lot of experience because he played a lot of football in college. That is always a benefit. But that doesn't exactly bring confidence that just because you played a lot of football in college that you're going to be a great quarterback in the pros. It's a roulette. The Niners took a flyer on them, and they got lucky. Lucky. Imagine. God, I don't want to even imagine, but imagine. Imagine for a moment. Right? Imagine with me for a moment. We draft Trey Lance as we did. And we gave up everything that we gave up to get him as we did. And we never took Brock Purdy. Where would the Niners be right now? I still believe they would have got rid of Trey, but I believe it would have been harder to get rid of him. I think the Niners would have stuck with him a little bit longer, hoping and praying that something would change in Trey so they don't look like jackasses for drafting him. But the fact that they felt comfortable for what they seen in Brock in training camp, during the offseason, during the OTAs and mini camp. But imagine if we didn't have a Brock Purdy and we still traded Trey Lance because Trey Lance is not the player that he's going to be. I mean, he's with the Cowboys and he could not even beat Cooper Rush. Let's be real. He could not even beat out Cooper Rush. So as soon as what's his name went down, who's playing right now? Cooper Rush. Trey Lance could not even beat Cooper Rush for that number 2 spot. He's trash. Not his fault. He didn't play much. the whole, if he would have came to the Niners and the Niners were not that good, the Niners would have the opportunity to develop him much better. But because he came into a situation as the savior of the team, I think that was too much for him, for Trey, and he just couldn't handle it. I think if they would have drafted Trey back in 2017 when it was Kyle's first year, maybe we would have saw something different. The Niners would have had the privilege to put up longer with Trey. Trey was taken 3rd overall. The Niners moved up and gave a lot of capital to go get him. The Niners did not have the luxury to sit and wait for the development of Trey Lance. Maybe they saw potential. They just did not have the luxury to develop him because the demand, because where he was drafted, how much capital we gave up, the media, the Niner fans, we will not be allowing him to develop. And that's sad, but that's football. The Niners were a good team, are a good team, and the pressure was on Trey Lance from the get-go. But if the Niners were trash like they were in 2017, it would have been more forgiving. When Peyton Manning struggled that first year, the Colts were trash. So, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Draft order, running back, 2 left tackles, 3 right guards. Yeah, it's not going to happen that way, but I hear what you're going, bro. I hear you. I hear you. Beto, should they get Bill for 25? I don't know if I'm understanding this question correctly. Can you elaborate? Should they get Bill? Oh, Belichick? Belichick took a job as a coach for college. He is now the head coach. I forgot which college that he's the head coach. And kudos, talking about head coaches in college, kudos to Michael Vick. Michael Vick also became a head coach. Wish him well or the best. All right, guys. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for hanging on with me on a Thursday night for an hour and a half. You guys are awesome. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Listen, guys, I'm probably going to take a break until after Christmas. I know that I do shows on Tuesdays with you guys and then Thursdays with Jess, but we're probably going to take breaks until after the New Year's. So if I don't see you guys or if I don't come on live, I just want to say and take this opportunity right now in this moment to say and wish each and every one of you a very happy Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year's to you and your loved ones. Take care of one another, love one another, and take opportunity to be around family. Family's not going to always be here. Take every moment to cherish those that you love. All right, guys, I am out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a wonderful. Remember, keep Jess in your prayers. She's dealing with migraines, that she gets better and better soon. I am your boy Niner Sickness. God bless you. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you when we see you. Peace. Go Niners, baby. Let's go.